on some of my other videos, I've shown you like the beginners and just the recreational golfers, and just how to get the ball on the green by using a hybrid or a putter from several different places around the greens. This is how you properly chip a golf ball, and this takes a lot of practice. This probably takes the most practice. If you can become a really, really good chipper, you can become a really, really good golfer, okay? So this is how you properly do it. For those of you looking for just the easy way, you can look at my other videos on how to use a hybrid and just putt the ball, or how to just use a putter on the apron, the fringe here, okay? But this is how you technically chip a golf ball, and this takes lots and lots of practice to do, okay? So watch this video, see if you can get it right. So now I want to show you how to chip properly, okay? If I have 100 students, 99 of them all do the same thing incorrectly, and that is our club head gets in front of our hands at the chip, okay? So it wants to get here. This is how we try to chip. That is not how you chip. If you'll notice when I set up to a golf ball, okay, when I set up to a ball, okay, just in front of the middle of my stance, okay, my hands are forward, the butt of the club is pointing at my left hip, okay. I want you to grip this all the way down to the end of the rubber. How I usually do it is I take my finger here, it hits the grip, and that's where I grip it. Now, why do I want to grip it that close? It's real simple. I want to get as close to the work and get as much control as possible. The analogy is if like you're writing with a pencil, right? We grip it towards the end of the pencil so we can have control and write. Try writing something holding on to it and the eraser. It doesn't work real well. This part of the game is finesse and control. We want as much control as possible. I like to get as much control as possible. The closer I get to this, within reason, the more control I have over that club head. So that's why I want you to grip down that low. So now we have our grip, okay, right here. The butt of the club is pointed at my left hip. The ball is just in front of center, okay. Now, again, we can move the ball and make the ball do different things a little farther forward. Actually, we can put a little more spin on the ball, putting it farther forward, a little farther back. It likes to hit and roll a little more. That's something for you to feel what your normal, comfortable little chip is. But you always try to do what the golf course is telling you to do. If I got a long chip, I want it to hit and roll. If I got a short chip, I want it to hit and kind of stop a little bit, okay? So just in front of our stance for a normal, quasi-normal chip, the grip is here. The butt of the club is pointed at my left hip, okay? My weight is basically all on my left leg. If someone were to come up behind me and hit my right leg when I'm chipping, it would kind of just slip out because I'm just basically just standing on my left leg. So my center point is in front of the golf ball, even though the golf ball is in front of my center point at the stance. If I was just standing here, now I'm moving it in front, okay? So now I have a Y. If you look, this makes a V, my arms, with adding the club makes a Y. This Y never changes, not a whole lot. This Y never changes, it just goes back and through. Where we make our mistake is we make this Y into one of these things, which is not a Y, okay? That's not what we want to do. We want to take this Y back and through. That is how we chip the golf ball. Now you notice there is a little bit of motion in my lower body. My right leg will want to release just a touch. My knee just comes in just a touch at the chip. Nothing you need to really think about. Just be free, just kind of let it happen. But what we need to do, mostly on all of this stuff that I'm showing you, is we need to keep this club head behind our hands at impact. So things that we can do, you can get these any hardware store for $1.99. Do not go and buy them at some golf store somewhere for 12 bucks for two of them or whatever crazy price, or $1.99 at any local hardware store. Okay. We put this in our grip right here. Okay, now it's not comfortable, but it's just a training aid. Okay. And when we set up, okay, again, I'm going to set up squarely, mostly maybe a touch open, okay, to the target, maybe a touch. And your feet, you can kind of mess around with it. I'm not a stickler on where you exactly have to be. Just get comfortable, but I do want your feet a little closer together. I don't want to see you have a wide stance. Close stance, okay? We get our grip. You'll notice where the stick is. You notice when I hit it or I make the chipping motion, you notice this stick never ever touches my body. Never, okay? What do you think would happen if the club head passes my hands? Where is that stick going to be? Okay, well, it can't happen. That can't happen if I have a stick in my hands. Okay, so we need to practice this motion just over and over and over. Just sit here and do this over. You'll notice this never, ever touches my body. That's how we have to chip. Okay, the main thing, club head can never pass your hands on a chip. Get even with it towards the end, but it isn't passing it. Now I'm going to show you another thing we can do with these two sticks. Okay, so now what we can do with two more of these sticks, right? Take and put them about a grip width apart from each other, okay? Place a ball at the back, the rear stick, okay? We get our stance, okay? Get our comfy, remember our grip all the way down here, ball just in front of middle, weight on the left side. Now what you want to think and the visual you want to have on this is when I make this chip, I want my hands reaching this when my club head reaches this. So you see they reach that together. If I flip at this, well, you'll notice that the club head gets to this one before my hands do. Okay, so I want my hands to reach this stick when the club head reaches this one. That's going to keep, because this is a little more comfortable, I guess, just a visual here than having the stick in your hand, because that is uncomfortable, but it's something that you need to do to learn to keep your hands ahead of the ball. Okay, so if I make this chip, I want my hands to reach this one when the club head reaches that one. Okay, that's how we chip a golf ball. Practice that method, practice the other method with the stick in your grip. Keep your hands ahead of the ball at the chip, nice crisp down and through it. Weight on the left side, ball just in front of the center, butt of the club pointing at your left hip, back and through with this Y. The Y that we were talking about doesn't change. Now, technically, yeah, it's going to have a little bit of energy and motion that's going to move this just a touch, but I'm not pitching the golf ball, okay? I'm just going back and through with this Y. And at all times, my hands are ahead of the club. Okay, another thing I want to go over when we're chipping is another mistake that is made is hand rotation. Okay, well, there isn't any. Okay, and that's the problem. So once we've got our hands ahead of the club head at impact, now the next thing we need to concentrate on, the next mistake that I see made, is people want to rotate their hands over at it. Now that comes with flipping at the golf ball. But even if I get my hands ahead, people still want to try, even afterwards, to turn the club head over. I do not want that happening. What happens when that happens, you put overspin on the ball, and it's really, really hard to control your distance. It's going to hit and just run and run and run and run. You're going to notice that you'll hit two of them and they kind of go where you want them to, and then one jets off, and then one comes up kind of short, then they go where you want, then one jets off. That's because we're putting the wrong kind of spin on the golf ball, okay? So what needs to happen after I make a chip, if you watch my club head, after I chip this golf ball, you notice my club head, where it's pointed, my club head is pointed basically at the sky, and that's where it needs to be. I don't want to see it here, okay? There, turns over, overspin on the golf ball, it hits and runs maybe the one time, and maybe the next time it doesn't, and then it does, okay? So another thing that we need to concentrate on is when we're hitting these chips, again, if you notice my club head, at the end of this chip is basically pointed upwards. My club head is pointed up. That's where it needs to be when you finish. I do not want to see it here. That's this rotation that's happening. I don't want to see that. I want to see that hand staying right there down the line. You're basically taking this club head, okay, drawing a track or whatever in your mind, and this club head stays down that track the entire time. When you chip a golf ball, it should never squirt off to the right or to the left. It should always be going right at your target. Your distance may be incorrect, okay? You may have misjudged your distance, but it needs to be going semi at the pin. Okay, when we turn this thing over, okay, if we turn it over a little late one time, it goes off to the right. We turn it over a little early, the ball goes off to the left. Well, you know what? If you don't turn it at all and you just chip and keep your club head motioning down that line, the ball is going to go at your target each and every time, okay? Okay, so another thing that I see when we make a chip is decision. Making up your mind on the speed of the chip, how hard you want to hit it, okay? What I always do and what I was taught at a very young age is when I see it and I feel this chip and I got the distance in my head that I'm going to chip this ball, the speed of the stroke that I'm going to make, I don't change my mind from there. That's it, I'm done. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But what I see happening and what I notice happening a lot is, and I know you guys have done this because I've done it too, right? We get about right here in the chip and then we decide to change our speed. We change our mind and our backswing on our chip. I guarantee you when you do that, that's a chili dip, that's a skull, and it's going to be wrong, okay? So you see your chip, you see the speed that you want, you feel it, and that's the decision you've made, and that's what you stick with, okay? Whether you're right or wrong, that's what you stick with. If you're wrong, you're wrong. But I guarantee, if you change your mind in your backswing on how hard you're going to hit this chip or what you're going to do with it, I guarantee you it's going to be wrong. So when you make up your mind on how hard you're going to swing at this chip, you're done. That's what you do. You hit it that hard. And again, if you're wrong, you're wrong. But I guarantee you'll be wrong if you change your mind.